9 o'clock numbers are looking good. How are you feeling about today?
We're feeling really good. Over the weekend and even into last night, our internal numbers showed a lot of movement our way. I think tonight's election is going to surprise a lot of the pundits and politicians in Montgomery, because what you're seeing is people are thinking about this election and they're thinking about the future. And it's clear that, you know, our candidacy over 397 days has been talking about things that's going to matter to Eli and Taylor. It's going to matter to your children and grandchildren. How do we fix education? We can do it with the lottery. How do we fix our healthcare system? We can do it by expanding Medicaid. I think in the end, people are more interested in solutions than sound bites. I think people are interested in results and not rhetoric.
What's your message to those who are still insisting on not voting because they don't think it'll make a difference?
Everyone needs to go vote, whether they're going to support myself or Governor Ivey. Everyone needs to go out and vote. This democracy was hard earned. It was hard earned by military men and women who have sacrificed even their lives, but certainly have sacrificed being away from their families. It was earned by civil rights marchers like Ima Lewis, who I met at Union Chapel Missionary Baptist Church, who walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge to earn the right to vote. The right to vote has been hard earned by so many. Please go and vote.
Are you so disappointed that Governor didn't want to debate you?
Well, I mean, at this point, the hay's in the barn. I mean, she didn't owe me a debate. She owed the people of Uniontown a debate about why they're not getting a sewer treatment system. She owed the people of Alex City a debate about why their hospital may close because we're not expanding Medicaid. And in the end, that's a disappointing thing to the people that pay her salary, regardless of party.
What separates you and Kay?
I think a couple of things. Number one is that we've put forward detailed plans on how to transform the state, how to confront the challenges that are facing Alabama. Number two is I'm not a Montgomery insider. I mean, to Governor Ivey's credit, she has spent 35 years inside the Montgomery bubble. The problem is that world they see in Montgomery is not the world we live in. The world we live in sees that our mental health capacity is decreasing and families are without care. The world I live in shows that corrections is failing, is under federal court order, and it's impacting public safety. The world I live in is that 20% of our bridges are functionally obsolete with no solutions on the table. And the world I live in sees hospitals closing across the state and no plan to deal with it. The Montgomery bubble has hurt Alabama for too long, and both parties have been guilty. This election is about change. This election is about the future.
What's your biggest message to voters still on the fence, especially independents?
I think the biggest message is about which candidate do you believe can deliver a brighter and more dynamic future for the state of Alabama. For 13 years here in Tuscaloosa, a purple city, we've demonstrated success, not by using partisanship, by forging common ground has been our method, and it's worked. We want to do the same thing to take on the challenges in Montgomery. I will never place the people I work for over, I will never place a party over the people I work for. That's probably the biggest difference.
I've spoken with Chip about how those internal numbers during the primary that y'all had were pretty much spot on. So again, what would you say to the people who think the end of this race has already been determined at 9:30 a.m.?
Well, we've been, ironically enough, during the last couple of days when, the internal numbers came in, we thought a lot about 6 months ago when people said there's no way that not only are you going to win the Democrat primary, you're going to do it without a runoff. I believe in our analytics, and we also focus on traditional polling is, as we know, it doesn't work. It has a hard time picking up younger voters. It has a hard time even picking up more traditional voters because today's technology, people can opt out of ever being contacted. I like our dynamics, I like our internal numbers, but in the end, you know what? It really doesn't matter now. I mean, it's in the hands of the people of the state of Alabama, and we'll all know tonight whether we were right or they were wrong, and the voters will be executed. Here's the great thing about this country is that every so often we get to determine the direction we want to go in, and so in the end we can develop a strategy, but ultimately it's going to be the people today coming in and out of this polling place that are going to determine Alabama's future. I hope they side with us because I believe we're on the right side of the issues and we're on the right side of history.
Thanks, Walt.
Thanks, Walt.
Thank you.